Your Royal Highnesses, ladies and gentlemen, and Mehdi, my lefty friend, may I thank Islamic Relief and Kabu for hosting tonight's event and dinner. Islamic Relief has delivered 30 years of humanitarian activity from very simple beginnings. Its origins lie in Birmingham, our deputy capital city, and proves that humanitarian effort is not solely the preserve of large NGOs and governments. Generosity of spirit can produce great results, and Islamic Relief is a UK Muslim initiative which I commend and applaud. And over the last 30 years, you have done great things. We all speak and attend today against the backdrop of the heinous murders in Paris. And everyone of whatever religious conviction or secular belief should abhor those killings. So I hope that all Muslims, and indeed all people, will stand united in their utter condemnation of last week's murderous events, and indeed the sheer number of Muslims carrying placards through the streets of Paris this weekend proclaiming "Not in my name" is testament to the overwhelming rejection of extremism by the Muslim community in Europe. So I similarly call on everyone in the UK to stand united against terrorism, but also not to drop our own standards by taking it out on any of our own citizens who happen to be Muslim. Standing together means being united in that stand, but also united as a society in our own country. Now, the vicious criminality of last week's attacks contrasts starkly with the good that can be done in the world. Humanitarian effort is an example of basic decency and is an activity in which all can participate. Indeed, zakat is one of the 5 pillars of Islam. Now, as Mehdi mentioned, I spent 4 highly rewarding years as the Minister for International Development, and I learnt how effective the UK is in its development efforts abroad, and how it is very much in the lead on the international stage in both emergency response, humanitarian relief, and poverty reduction. And while I was a minister, the UK spent over $1 billion in Syria, Lebanon, and Your Royal Highnesses in Jordan. I also oversaw much of our programme activity in Palestine, Yemen, Bangladesh, Pakistan, and Afghanistan. In all of those countries, we made a significant difference to the lives of some of the most vulnerable people in the world. Now, our government's efforts abroad mean more, and they achieve more, if they're supported by action and enthusiasm at home. Humanitarian fundraising and support is something which all UK Muslims can become involved in and is a constructive way of channeling their energies into good works. The alternative of extremism is a grave and reprehensible option. Helping others is far preferable, and such activity is a clear statement that all decent people can share the same values of common humanity. So we need to engage and encourage all our fellow citizens and not set any of them apart. And on no account should any of them go to Syria or to Iraq to fight. But sadly, much of the Middle East is in turmoil. When we assumed office over 4 years ago, nobody foresaw the mayhem that has unfolded in Syria and Iraq, and nobody can say that they confidently predicted the rise of ISIS. The hard fact is that the vast majority of those killed by Muslim violence are themselves Muslim. Syria, Iraq, and the continuing challenges of Gaza and Yemen have each required a special focus. Massive resources have had to be redeployed at short notice to address these problems. It means that Muslims have been in the spotlight of world affairs. But Muslims are not a simple, homogeneous group. Indeed, much of the turmoil is caused by the great schism within Islam of Shia versus Sunni. The intensity of this difference is very difficult for a non-Muslim to comprehend. Extreme barbarity has its own roots and causes, and it would be wrong to say that the issue of Palestine is in any way a cause of it. But if there is a thread of grievance running through the Muslim world, and indeed beyond, it is that they unite in indignation over the maltreatment of Palestinians. The establishment of a Palestinian state is a crucial building block for broader harmony in the immediate region and beyond. Mahmoud Abbas has recently turned to the United Nations for recognition for his country. The United Nations resolution did not pass, and I'm sorry to say that the United Kingdom abstained. Strangely, although this is an issue of profound significance, I'm not aware that it has ever been put to our cabinet. What's more, the Palestinians have been urged to use diplomatic means to pursue their goal, but they are then rebuffed when they do so. The price they have now got to pay for being reasonable is to suffer the illegal withholding of their own tax revenues by the Israelis. Our failure to support Palestinian recognition is regrettable, and my strong view is that we should row in behind them should they re-present their motion to the United Nations. Recognition for Palestine is a cause. It is one of basic justice, and it's one which unites Muslims everywhere, as it also does fair-minded people in the United Kingdom and beyond. Piecing the Middle East together with a modicum of stability and order will be more difficult if Palestine is not recognized. Palestine fuels Muslim indignation in all of our United Kingdom communities. Even many Bangladeshis and Pakistanis feel that it brands them as second-class citizens and that justice in the world seems to be unevenly interpreted and applied. So justice for Palestine is an essential component of addressing grievance in the entire UK Muslim population. Within the UK, we as politicians should pay proper and serious attention to our Muslim population and do all we can to prevent their alienation. There are now nearly 3 million Muslims in the UK, getting on for nearly 5% of our population. And I feel forced to admit that politically, I think they receive less attention and enjoy less understanding than they deserve. Our Muslim population is mixed and it is various. There are those of Pakistani, Bangladeshi, Persian, Arab, and African descent. And we should make it clear as we approach the general election, and indeed at all times, that our own Muslims matter. Their political attitudes and deep feelings are shaped by both international and domestic issues. Within our national politics, we have used for too long the antagonistic language of immigration, which has had an adverse effect on those whose origins go back 1, 2, or even more generations. The loose use of language on immigration creates the danger of making all those of different origin feel like they are unwanted citizens. The great conservative Disraeli spoke of one nation, more explicitly, two nations, in respect of the rich and the poor. Well, that's never gone away. But the modern equivalent on which our objective of one nation must focus is the need fully to understand and integrate our 3 million Muslim nationals and others of different ethnic origin. The election campaign on which we've embarked is an opportunity to correct the neglect they feel, and which, in my view, is a neglect that is real. At the same time, however, we should be careful not to view all UK Muslims solely through the prism of religion, as if it's the only thing that defines them. You, they, are businessmen and women, students, teachers, doctors, or whatever else, and we should make sure that while we engage with them as a community, we also treat them fully as individuals. To some extent, all parties have either taken them for granted, or patronized them, or paid insufficient attention of any sort. So let me say clearly to all UK citizens who are Muslim, you are not second class, you are not neglected, you are not unwanted. With a world in turmoil and with heightened anxiety about threats and dangers, this is a time to show that the UK is genuinely united in social harmony and that there is no them and us. We must all be determined to make a vigorous stand against terror and extremism, but we are not in some sort of war against Muslims in general or Islam as a religion. We are against terrorism in all its forms, which includes so-called Islamic extremism. Division is the fuel and foundation of homegrown extremism. The best weapon against jihadism and terror is a united society in our own country. So I hope in the years ahead we can create a world of greater peace, more tolerance, and greater social harmony, and may the work of everyone in this room tonight assist that cause. Thank you.